Oh man. Hello.
Alright, and here we go. We are into episode number 2 of Let's Talk eSports World Championships episode. It's kind of where we looked at what we wanted to talk about, and that's what it turned into. So once again, my name is MTarget. This here is Hegemony Reigns, and I'm hoping that actually works correctly. Okay, there it is. On the preview, it looked like you didn't have an I in your name, and it's like, no, there's definitely an I right there.
Okay,
Oh, no.
all right.
We're good.
Just as long as people know who I am. What's going on? Apparently, you can hear the stream in the background.
I'm not seeing anything. It's possible that it was you for that split second right before it happened, but I'll keep an eye out for it. Because I don't have anything else going but you and me. But with that said, let's go ahead and get into it. We've got, sort of as the title suggests, mostly going to be talking about, or when we were looking at what we were going to talk about this week, a lot of stuff is heading towards World Championships in some form. BlizzCon, International, SPL Season 2, or SWC Season 2 was just announced.
Excuse me.
Chat is realizing that he's got like 15 tabs open of the same stream. That's his fault, not mine.
I saw that. What a troll.
And then, of course, there's LCS talking about the fact that I think there was one tweet that said that SKT, if they win like 2 more games to the first team that's clinched spot at Worlds, but then people are like, but what about Fnatic? I don't know.
Yeah.
All that I know is that I would be very surprised if I
Fnatic.
don't see SKT and Fnatic at Worlds beating up on each other at some point, and Faker laughing hysterically while he tries to gank Faker. Or no, Huni ganking Faker, one of them cackling. Both of them dying.
All right, so what are we going to start with today, Target? Where are we starting? Where are we planting our feet first?
Let's just go ahead and plant our feet in Smite, because it's the
Easy.
smallest area. It's the easiest. It's really straightforward.
I like it. Let's go.
So,
Yes, we will be talking about Dota, Marl.
And
I know how much you like the Dotas.
we're going to talk about the Dodos. But no, so for Smite, we've got 3 things. The first point is World Championships were announced, SWC 2, or Season 2, whatever, the 7th through the 10th of January.
Mm-hmm.
So everybody's all, oh my god, and like, apparently hotels are already like $400 for the 3 nights, and
Wow, that's troll.
shit's already starting to sell out. Like, it's insane. Like, Atlanta's like, let's get the money, but, you know, that's how that goes.
True.
There is, rumor about how stuff's going to track as far as getting there. Obviously, Hi-Rez announced a long time ago, the paths to get there. Fall split for the SPL for NA and EU is starting up. You've got then the actual Pro League starting for Latin America in the next week or two, and that includes Brazil. Everything prior to that has been semi-pro league stuff. This is that final split where they're just pushing everything in to Worlds. China, we don't know what's going on there. Tencent keeps stuff very much under lock and key. Also, I don't read Chinese, and apparently not many people in the Smite scene do, so it's hard for us to get in there in the first place.
I wanted to be the I wanted to be the guy, cause like, okay, my school used to offer Korean, and this this past January when the semester started, I was like, dude, I want to be the guy in Smite that like bridges the gap between the Koreans and us, right? I want to be that guy, so I was gonna take Korean, and then I go and I look for it, and it's just we don't offer Korean anymore, and I couldn't be bothered to take Chinese over 4 weeks, like nothing would stick, so rip.
Yeah,
I tried, boys.
So yeah, there's that. There's some drama going on. The big thing is you've got...
What's the drama?
Well, the big piece of drama is the fact that Legion of Carrots is 1. We are Legion, we are 1. Yeah, there is 1 player left. Technically, he maintains that there's 2...
their name is Legion, for they are many, and apparently it's many fuck-ups.
Yeah, apparently. So, anyways, the short... Whatever. We are Legion, we are 1. Depends on which Legion you're talking about. The short version is that the team fell apart hard. Panda Cat was like, I'm going to be out of the country for 3 months. All right, fine. We need an ADC. And Vedium's like, yeah, they had asked me to do that forever ago. And I was like, I thought Vedium was playing on this team over here. But that's not the point. Point is that next thing, all
Wasn't
that we know...
Vedium playing for one of the was COG or...
he's playing for Denial.
Denial, I'm sorry.
I do not know why you would go from Denial to Legion. I don't care that, like, no, you don't do that. Anyways, that's his problem. All that I know is that at the end of it, they pretty much jacked a lot of people are calling them challenger rejects. And we will be talking about Dota just right after LCS. It's going to be Smite, LCS, Dota, and then we'll get into everything else. If depending on time, because we are going to try and make this an hour-long episode today, not 2 hours like last time. So,
Right.
anyways, and a lot of people. I mean, there were remarks about that Payne is making this SWC attempt that he thinks that this or this 5-man or 10-man roster or whatever or 6-man roster can make the run to Worlds. Okay, props.
Right.
But every single name that's on there are players who were in Challengers Cup last split who couldn't make it into the top 4. It's not even like they couldn't make it into the SPL play-ins. They couldn't make it into the top 4 even. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to knock the guys that are on that roster because I haven't been studying them enough and going, oh, well, this is what's wrong with this player and this is wrong with that player. But they're effectively Challengers Cup wash-ups. So, I mean, if that's what you want to take, that's fine. I get that it's not against the rules, and a lot of people, this is leaving a salty taste in their mouth. And it sucks for those guys that have been busting their ass. Legion's an organization, or a team, that they've been in the SPL now for 2 splits fighting their ass off.
Yeah. Yeah, they have.
And these guys easily could have made it back into the fall split, and I think they've been continuing to get better. Yeah, sure, they lost Panda Cat here, and maybe Words' Weapons was having a hard time, whatever. But again, and okay, so DJ was maybe or maybe not leaving on his own, but at the end of the day, the way that it was presented to the community was Payne making his own variation, and because Payne is the captain, he can do whatever the hell he wants with it. That's the way the rules work. I understand why the rules work the way that they do. If this was a Smite talk show, we could talk about it for an hour, but it's not, so we're going to move on past it in a second. But
I have a few questions for you real quick, because
yeah.
you're just going off about it. Okay, so let's talk about this real quick. I want to first go over how likely. Okay, so we've got spring split of SPL. Summer split just ended.
Yep.
Sorry, guys, I apologize. We have fall split that's happening soon. Fall split's going to be like, 8 weeks starting in either August or September, right?
Yeah, something like that.
Okay, so what is the real likelihood, the Hail Mary, this actually works? How would they actually qualify, or what are their chances of actually qualifying for SWC? Like, if they went 20-0 or whatever in the coming fall split, will they have enough seed points? Even though
doesn't matter. It doesn't matter.
How does it work?
So the way that it works, and this is the thing that I find interesting, and I'm not sure how I feel about it, so I'm not going to go into this. I mean, I know this is a World Championship show, so we can talk about it a little bit. But the way that it's set up is that you've got the summer and the spring split, where you just have to be above the bottom 2 to be guaranteed to go into the next one, plus more money. So that's where Legion is. Legion was either
they were
5th
just
or
better than the
6th.
last 2 shitters, right?
Yes, as long as you're not enemy or COG, you're going to the fall split. And then, as far as the fall split is concerned, it is literally the top X teams, they haven't said how many it's going to be, go to the LAN, where they then compete one last time. It's probably top 4. It's my guess, maybe top 6. And
I'm probably gonna say top 4, probably top 2 from each region. I don't know. The last 2 lands are what? Then we have 2 teams from each region.
But that's the LAN for just like who gets the money out of the region. I'm talking about because they're not going to send only 2 from NA and EU total to go to Worlds. They're probably going to send 2 from each again. So that's my, again, I'm speculating. I don't work for Hi-Rez. And yeah,
like
it's
Lionel Sickles was saying,
for Legion to get to LAN because of where they've been. Consistently speaking, they're going to have to get a hell of a lot better. And when this team is this team, I'm not, I mean, again, Challengers Cup rejects in some cases. Like, it's not looking good. Maybe they can place better. Maybe it'll look better going into Season 2. I don't know. And there's also going to be a question of what the hell's happened to Enemy. I've heard some very interesting rumors about Enemy that range from the entire team disbanding to getting just a couple members kicked. So
can we discuss that, or is that like for another time or something? 'Cause I would really like to hear this.
The short version is that Enemy's looking really rocky, and if they somehow are able to beat Yomi, I think they're playing Yomi in the relegations. So
right.
If they make it back into the SPL the next split, they're going to have some issues. If they don't make it into the SPL again, they're gone. I see no opportunity at all for them playing out in the Challengers Cup in the fall.
Right.
Especially because Fall Challengers Cup means nothing. You play in Fall Challengers Cup, sure, it's good. Yes, it's good practice. Yeah, you get some money out at the end of it. But that doesn't place, as far as I know, everybody thinks that Challengers Cup is not going to place into anything for the spring. So,
Yeah.
with that said, because of Challengers Cup, we're going to mention Aurora really quickly. Aurora announced yesterday as well. Fat Chunks are coming back. It's going to be Fat Chunks, or it's going to be called Reloaded. I'm not quite sure which
Fat
yet.
Chucks reassembled.
Unfortunately, they didn't pick that name, which sucks. It would be great. But it's going to
What?
be Aurora, Kabam, Scary D, Adjust. I know it says Dageology. We'll cover that really quickly. And Rocksick.
I want them to have like a gun logo and just like Fat Chunks.
that would be
Reloaded.
great.
Continue. I'm sorry.
So that's all good. So Daze, for those who don't know, was the jungler for Noble. So I'm guessing this means Noble is disbanding. There are some rumors about where those players are going. But that I have been told I don't know. They were like, this is this, but you don't know that yet. I'm like, okay, I'll get my mouth shut. But anyways, as far as Adjust is concerned, he was Dazeology. He played in the Combine. He didn't have a great game. DM Brandon tore him to shreds, and it followed him around for the next 6 months. And so he said, forget this, I'm changing my name, I want to get past it. Of course, he forgot to change his Twitter because he never uses it. And Aurora tweets out and tags Dazeology again, and now it's going to be brought back up again just a little bit. Rocksick, really old dude. He played on Reason way back in the day.
Are you sure about the Dazeology Twitter thing? Because there's a Dazeology for Noble that
Yeah.
like has like 3,000 followers or something, and then there's like the guy that Arrow tweeted last night that had like 30 followers. So
It's possible he got it wrong, but one second.
anyway, I mean, we're
I
not
don't know.
Twitter detectives. I mean, I put my badge now because we're doing a talk show. So
Yeah, so so that's that. They're going into challengers and they're gonna do their thing.
they
for
do
them.
have a
They
strong duo.
As far as I know, yeah, I mean that's gonna be a solid duo. And I mean, I don't know where they're gonna go. It's possible that they might throw in the top challengers team as some sort of wild card, though I really wouldn't like that if I was if I was an SPL team. Say I was number 5. Say they sent the top 4 teams from the SPL, and then they sent the top 2 teams from challengers to this LAN. If I was number 5 and number 6 in the SPL, I would be pissed. Because that means you have a better shot. And again, because they haven't told us, we don't know. And that's something that we'll talk about, if we get closer to it, we want to keep covering that. But that's all that I've got for Smite, as far as in the constraints of this show. In the constraints of this show, you've got SWC, there's some hype about that. It's only going to be $1 million, so it's not going to be as hype, but at the same time, there's going to be more money spread across the other stuff, and I like that. But really, that's all that I've got for Smite right now. There's some stuff coming up as far as the LAN, and we'll have to see what happens. The suggestion in chat about if they send challengers, it'll be top 6 plus top 2 challengers. Okay, but that means it's an auto relegation for the bottom 2. And hey, if you're bottom 2 in the SPL, you probably deserve to go out after the fall split. But at the same time, I don't know. We do know that in Australian Smite, they're getting 50,000 for their Pro League.
That's pretty good.
Prize pool, and it's gonna be solid.
That's like the end of the split. Like at the end of the split, that $50,000 is split between the teams participating in the Oceanic SPL, basically, right?
It's gonna be
or is it
top
like
4 or something, but yeah.
Is it like the split starts? Here's $50,000 spread out between the teams, or is it like first place gets this much at the end?
It's a 50K LAN at the end.
Okay. That's pretty nice for Oceania, man. Like
I
I haven't heard of them having a $50,000 tournament in anything.
The last
in a
50K
long
tournament
time.
that I've heard of any impact, any tournament that size or larger, was LCS, and even then, not really, and Dota, and that's it. So yeah, that's all they got going.
That's nice. It's pretty awesome.
So let's go ahead and jump over to LCS really quickly. Let's just do a quick roundup of teams that they're talking about Worlds, and then let's talk about a couple teams that are falling apart. That's mostly on you. I'll interject sort of questions or where I know things.
All right, so I'm looking at the standings right now. We're going to talk about teams possibly going to Worlds, really. Gravity. We're going to start with North America LCS. Gravity's at the top of the standings right now, followed by Liquid. Gravity's at number 1 in the North American LCS with their fucking like leather jackets and fucking Cop with his bleach blonde hair coaching them. It's like so troll, but it's so great at the same time. And the way they do it, excuse me, they just like they play the game. It was the way it was meant to be played. They like counter build. They don't just do their own like, oh, this guy is building armor. Like I'm not gonna build armor pit. I'm just gonna fuck this guy or whatever. They just play the game the way it was meant to be played. And then in Europe, like we gotta talk about Fnatic, man. Like you know about Fnatic. Fnatic is on this like unstoppable force. They're 14-0 right now. I think they're like competing with SKT in terms of like.
I thought they passed them at this point. Oh no, because SKT's uncontested this split as well. So
Yeah.
yeah, they're both just flying.
Yeah.
And they're both doing crazy stuff. Fnatic's doing it because they can, and they're putting themselves behind in some cases, etc. And then SKT's like, oh, you think you're gonna catch us? Here's Faker on a motorbike. Literally, Faker just rides in on a motorcycle.
Yeah. No, what happened was this. What happened this week with Fnatic is like they fucked up against H2K, but they brought it back, and then they beat Orion later that week, or like the next day. Really, I don't know why I said later that week. And so that's. I mean, I wish I could see who they're playing this week. Let's see. Hang on. All right. Anyway, depending on who they're playing this week, it'll be either easy sweep or they're. I mean, they've just been going non-stop. Like they just keep almost faltering, but they're not gonna. I don't think they've been a clear contender since the spring split.
Oh yeah,
like it's easy. I don't even know why I'm faltering over it. Like it's just so easy for them. They're not worried at all. And then Origin. I mean, they're just brute forcing their way through, man. Like that's all they seem to be doing. I think they might actually, if they finish high enough, they can actually have enough points to go to they can have enough points to go to Worlds, maybe. I think.
yeah. I'm not familiar with how all that works in League, and I'm gonna be interested to see what comes out.
And SKT's at the top in Korea, of course. EDG's at the top in China, followed by Chaogu or Kaogu. I'm sorry, I'm really terrible with Chinese. I don't follow the Chinese scene that much. I know a little bit about the
I try,
Korean
and it's
team.
difficult because of the time zones suck, man.
I mean, the only difficult thing about it, in my opinion, is the fact that you have to deal with Atlas. You have to deal with his shoutcasting. I mean, Frost Current is like, all right, hit or miss. Sometimes, like, I'm digressing. Anyway.
Yeah, sorry, just because we are trying to, I mean, we can go a little bit over the hour, but last time we were at almost 2 hours, and we're really trying to make this an hour-long show.
Okay, well, TSM, they're sucking the dick right now. there's no polite way to say this. They're 0-2 this week. They lost to. Oh God, I
to
can't
be fair,
remember.
didn't they lose to Gravity?
They lost to Gravity. Was one of them.
So that's understandable considering how well Gravity's been playing. So I'll give them a pass there. If as an outsider looking and who's not studying it, that's what I would say. And then I don't remember who the other team they lost to was, but I know it was bad.
I'm checking it right now, actually.
Was it Liquid with Piglet?
I think it was Liquid.
Yeah, because Piglet had that.
It was a
crazy
long,
smite that
yeah.
about.
It was a really drawn out game. I remember that much.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was TSM versus Liquid, and Liquid had 42% of the vote. Oh man, TSM. I think they messed up. This is where TSM messed up. They did what Liquid did, where they brought in Keith, and Keith has become known as like the pressurizer, and like the League of Legends community. Like you bring in Keith when you want to put pressure on your main roster, because nobody wants their spot taken by the Toucan, man. Nobody wants to get replaced by the Toucan. It worked for Piglet. I mean, it worked for Piglet.
Yeah.
But there's like this weird atmosphere on TSM, like, and everybody it's almost become a meme at this point. Like when Bane broke Batman's back, like imagine Bane like picking up skinny little Bjergsen and just snapping him like a twig. That's all you have to do to beat TSM. You beat Bjergsen, you beat TSM. So on top of like, there's like this insane pressure on Bjergsen, and then like Wild Turtle's feeling stressed out because his job's on the line right now. Like he knows what happens because that's how he got his job. He replaced Chaos when Chaos was underperforming, and Chaos was showing up to lands like fucked up basically. Like Chaos was like, oh, I got a hangover, and then like he got a quadra kill and won them the game. But Reggie was like, fuck that, dude. Like you don't show up to events hungover and all that stuff. Like fuck it. And then they brought in Wild Turtle, and Wild Turtle went off, and then Toucan is waiting in the wings to go off. It's just, I love the irony. I'm a fan of irony.
I think it's funny because Wild Turtle's like, oh my god, it's on the line, and he's getting worse. He's one of those
Yeah.
guys where he's imploding, and that happens, and it sucks because I remember when North America was going, TSM is our hope, they're our dream for Worlds, and well, that hope's now a pipe dream, guys. You kind of screwed. So I mean, and TSM and of course Cloud9, you know, there's an ESL documentary that about IEM San Jose, and Cloud9 was their protege and what they're talking about, and now it's like about that.
I'm glad you brought up Cloud9 because they might be back. High this weekend in the jungle in their game against Dignitas. Dignitas is on a little bit of a downslope since their week where they were number 1, and they had the little Chef Gamsu piece. If you haven't seen that, it's actually really enjoyable. It shows Gamsu cooking and all that stuff. But anyway, they beat Dignitas, and like this just like resounding like it's like getting your rocks off after a while. It's just like, oh, I needed that. That's what all the C9 fans felt. And I'm not even a C9 fan, but I felt it through the internet. They were just like, oh, we needed that win. We needed that win bad. And so C9 is like they're on the down, but they're going down, and now they're on their way back up. I'm curious to see who they're going to get as a full-time jungler, because there were some talks about Kikis joining Cloud9. There was like rumors, really, and then Kikis just announced he was going to Gamers 2, which is a challenger team. He went from Unicorns of Love, which were at Worlds, or they were Worlds contender. I can't remember which exactly.
They were Worlds contenders. They didn't quite make it, if I remember correctly, because that was when I came to the league.
Right, exactly. So there you go. And then now he's playing for Gamers 2, and you know, Ocelot is like a fucking meme again at this point. But I'm curious to see who they're gonna get for Cloud9 to replace the jungler, because Meteos is still doing stuff for HTC, rocking the Cloud9 stuff. I saw tweets about it yesterday. He was like with Hafu, like doing stuff for HTC, representing Cloud9, but he's not playing their jungler. Hai had to leave for medical reasons, but he's jungling for them. He's not gonna stay. Yeah, for now. He's not gonna stay, so curious.
Yeah, it's gonna be interesting. So that's NA.
Yeah.
EU's really cut and dry. It's Fnatic, and then everybody else has like a 70% loss rate, so God knows what's going to happen there.
SK Gaming. Did you see what happened?
SK and MYM are such a shit show. It's not even funny.
Okay,
I mean, it's funny, mildly, but...
If you guys aren't aware of what's happening with SK, I'm going to go ahead and post the article about it from the Daily Dot in the chat. So basically what's happening with SK Gaming, they're in the shitter. You look at the standings right now, they're number 9 under Copenhagen Wolves, which is in a shittier place than SK Gaming because their coach tried to sell all the players and like take money from them and shit. So they all like don't all hate each other, but they're like, the team atmosphere is terrible. Then you have SK Gaming, and you read the article on Daily Dot, and they're like, they didn't want to play. Like the gaming organization of SK basically told the players that they were going to fine them for underperforming, and they're like, this is bullshit. And N-Rated he's like one of the oldest people on the team. He is like the mental strategist of the team. He's always been like the mind of the team. And then when you read the article, at least the way Richard Lewis presents it, or I believe that's who wrote the article, basically he is the one that is the buffer between the team and the organization. When the organization needs to talk to the team, they go through N-Rated. Because
Jacob
like
Wolf, not Lewis. So
Jacob Wolf, I apologize.
Somebody that the league community hates slightly less. So
because there's problems with Jacob Wolf with rumor mongering, but this seems to actually hold a bit of truth to it. So we're gonna go with it.
It's not like you say R. Lewis and half the community wants to murder me for saying his name. It's like I just mentioned he wrote an article.
R. Lewis has this like weird sainthood status now, where he's kind of like Fight Club, where like you don't talk about him on Reddit, but like if something he dropped, but seriously, like when a big story of his drops on Reddit, people will post a Reddit topic about it, and then it'll be like Daily Dot article. What do you guys think? It's like, are you serious?
Yeah.
But anyway, the organization would go through N-Rated, and when they were going to be fined, N-Rated was like, fuck this, and tried to leave, and then like all this shit like started imploding. Like the players didn't want to play, and Riot's like, you guys have to play in the interest of competitive integrity. You guys can't be forfeiting matches. And it's just like, there were some rulings you guys did like not even a few months ago where like the rulings were made based on the interest of player safety and players like getting what they want, and these guys don't even want to play the game, and you're forcing them to play the game. But now apparently everything's okay. In-Raid is going to play this week. It's going to be really interesting.
Yeah,
going to be really interesting.
that is going to be interesting.
I don't know.
And
It's a shit show, man.
We're going to have an episode about the shit show that is LCS someday. 'Cause it is. It's somebody mentioned once that you have games that are marketed based on skill, and then you have games that are marketed on drama. And NALCS and EULCS are both examples of that. You know, NALCS Doublelift, everybody's trash. I am pretty sure I've seen interviews with Doublelift.
Man.
He doesn't think that, but he embraces that when he's on the stage.
No, dude, that's an old CLG meme. The new CLG meme is go all the way until mid-season, then start tilting and choking.
I know that's the meme, but it's interesting to see what happens. And
troll.
you know, it's
my
weird.
CLG.
Everything is all over the place, and that. So we're gonna jump really quickly from hyper-structured with Smite and League, where you've got Rito and Hi-Rez going this to Dota, where Volvo's like throw some dongers up in here going, I don't frickin' know what's going on. But if I could, I would turn my face into a big Lenny face. So
give me your energy.
So
sorry, that's terrible.
What we've got is international. We got 16 teams that are going. Actually, no, it's a lie. We've got more than 16 teams because you've got because you have.
Let's look this up.
14. I'll send you the link somewhere.
Okay, so tell me about the region breakdown and all that stuff.
Okay, so they invited X number of teams, and I need to do the math real quick. They invited 10 teams, and I do not remember exactly which teams were invited. I could go through the list and tell you, but they invited.
Okay, I'm looking at it right now. Go ahead. Sorry.
Actually, I can read it here. So they invited Vici Gaming, Evil Geniuses, Team Secret, Invictus Gaming, LGD Gaming, Cloud9, Team Empire, Virtus Pro, Newbie, Fnatic. Those are the 10 teams that they invited. These 10 teams are going. They have been going since they made the announcement, and they made the announcement in the worst way possible. They literally were tweeting them out one at a time without any warning. The first one came out, and I'm pretty sure it was Vici, and they were like, Vici Gaming is going to the international, and everyone is like, wait, what? I remember because I follow the entire Score eSports staff on Twitter, and they were all like, they were waking each other up by calling them, and like, I just woke up, I got to start writing because they each cover a different region.
Apparently, Navi made it through qualifiers, is what they're saying in chat.
Yeah, no, I haven't gotten to the Navi guys yet. I'm sorry. I haven't gotten to the qualifiers yet. Those are the 10 teams that have been invited. Then what they did is they had 4 qualifying rounds where they invited 8 teams. 6, 8. Or sorry, they invited 10 teams per region to play a qualifier. Americas were May 25th through the 28th. Same thing with China. And then Europe and C were the 29th through the 1st. And what happened there was each had 2 teams. The winning team automatically qualified. That was Complexity Gaming for the Americas, eHome for China, MVP Hot 6 for Southeast Asia, and Navi, as said in chat, for Europe. What that leaves are 4 teams that are also going, but those 4 teams are playing at the International before anybody else. And these 4 teams are going as teams that have to play to get these last 2 wildcard spots. So you have North American Rejects, you have CDEC from the Americas, you have CDEC Gaming from China, you have MVP Phoenix from Southeast Asia, and then you have Vega Squadron from Europe. And these 4 teams have to play against each other to have an opportunity for those last 2 spots of 16. These 4 teams are not guaranteed anything. At least if you're in the top 16, you get a little bit. It's like 0.025%, but you get a little bit. Those bottom 2 teams don't get jack. I think they might be getting some travel and stuff from Valve, but that's it. Once you get into the top 16, then you're actually into the international.
This is a mess, man.
I
mean, like this. It looks great. I'm looking. I mean, I'm honestly just looking at the wiki. It's really cool to see all the emblems, to be like just blunt about it, and it's really nice to see a tournament with this many teams here. But good God.
Yeah, it's a mess. And this is actually. Oh, and North America. Oh, that's right. I forgot. North American Redux was picked up by Archon. It hasn't been recognized on the Valve official site yet, but I do remember seeing that article. Thank you, Marl, for reminding me. My apologies. But I mean, it's going to be interesting because sure, Navi made it, but they had to make it through an open they had to make it through the qualifier. They didn't have to go through the open qualifiers at least, so they weren't totally underdogging here. But I mean, they've got some of the, Art Style, Funnick, Dendy, three of the biggest names out there. I can never remember how to pronounce Alexander's actual name, his in-game name, because it's not Xbox, even though I always want to say that. And I'm going to get corrected by chat in about 60 seconds here. But Navi is no longer a contender. They could play well and they could do well. But really, what I've heard and what I've seen, a lot of these teams haven't been playing in a whole lot of tournaments recently because they've been working on stuff behind the scenes. But, Team Secret, this team is literally so good that they go from tournament to tournament to tournament, winning shitloads of money. They have zero sponsors. They have zero management staff. They do everything for themselves.
That's impressive.
Oh.
That reminds me of like Anarchy and LCK. I don't know if they're still around.
Oh, thank you. That's right. Freaking. The problem is that they transliterate it over so from the letters to XB0OCT, and it's like that doesn't translate to Havost at all, but it does. So so yeah, that's I don't know. Team Secret doing great. Cloud9 did really well as well. And yeah, if Navi can get their shit together, then they'll be good. But at the same time, LGD still looks really solid. Team Empire looks great. Virtus Pro is a weird one. But then, Vici... Evil Geniuses has a knack for buying talent. So they'll pick up an organization right before they get, invited. And I think that EG, because of the new Dota Major system, where it's going to cycle through, and you're required to maintain a more steady roster, I think that'll be good, and EG will start holding a solid roster again. But it's EG. They buy teams. Invictus Game. All of these teams are good. That's why they're there. Especially the ones that were invited. But Cloud9, I've got high hopes for. I really like their Dota team. I always have. Fada. Part of it. Fada and Big Daddy are just really cool guys. And Eternal Envy was one of the first guys that got me into Dota back in the day. The second time around that I got involved. So, it's interesting, but it's one big event that's happening in... Oh my, I'm going to be traveling when this is going on. I don't know how I'm going to be able to watch this. No! Oh no! Oh no!
RIP. How long is the International going on?
International is August 3rd through the 8th. I've got to go to a wedding right before that, man. Oh, man.
RIP.
It's okay. I'm going to be back in... I think I'm going to be home for Saturday, so I can at least watch the grand finals.
Okay.
Okay. Oh, I'm not going to... All right. Well, EG, super stable versus not. I'm not going down that road. We'll bring... this roster looks very familiar to me, but last I had heard was EG had dropped him for a little bit. So, again, I'm not super plugged in. I get that, but I can also only cover so many games at once. And Dota has not really been on my priority list for games for coverage. So, my apologies for that. But again, that's what we know are the 16 or the 18 teams that are going. And it's going to be hype. Valve's got a lot of pomp and circumstance ready. They've raised, what, $20 million?
Was it really that much already? I thought it was 15 or something.
They cracked 15, and then everybody said it was going to go over 20.
Oh, damn.
1 second.
How much money is that per team? Like, who gets what in terms of that? Because that's a lot of money.
Do you really want to know how much money first place is going to get here? All right, hang on. So it's 16,615,000. So 16 million. Okay, we're just going to call it flat. First place gets 50%. $8 million. I don't care if your team takes 50% of that. You're still making $4 million across 5 guys.
That's ridiculous, dude.
Yeah.
That's OP.
That is OP indeed.
Top 8 get 1 million.
But no, it's just crazy because half of it goes to one team. Like,
damn.
They don't mess.
I don't
Valve
say
does
it's
not
easy
mess
money,
around.
but like, imagine, and you're just like Chinese. I'm just gonna get my dick wet in Dota. Just come stomp some kids. Get $15 million. Start a company. Easy money.
I mean, the thing is that it's not easy money at all. But at the same time, when you walk away with $8 million, if Team Secret wins, they're walking away with $8 million split between 6 guys, 5 players and a sub.
It's no more.
So that means each of them are walking away with $1.5 million, and then
It's
sub gets a
so
little
much
less.
money. Wow. Oh wow. All right, so
Like these guys
we're gonna be
never need to work
traveling
again. They can keep gaming. And the other thing is that if you're a Dota winner, you make so much money off the back of that. You get sponsorships out the ass. Your Twitch stream goes through the roof. Dendy made so much money after one of the times. Like it was just.
Which one did Dindy win? He's been with Na'Vi forever. I know that much.
Yeah, they won. Oh my god.
I mean, even I know the Dindy face. That
Dendy
was like
face!
I'm pretty sure that was the International 4, the one I watched where he did that interview and he was just trolling the whole time. That was when I fell in love with Dindy.
Dendy's an interesting character. All right, here we go. We're going to the wiki and checking really quickly for the history. Okay, so we got TI11. The international, the first international was won by Na'Vi.
Oh, okay.
However, that roster that won was not the roster that it is right now. I don't think it was.
So it's like Fnatic, basically. Right?
Yeah, kind of. But actually, it might have been. But Na'Vi took first. In the very first one, there was $1 million in the line. That was it.
But that was what, 2011, right?
Yeah, 2011, $1 million.
That's pretty good for a
Oh wait,
2011
I'm sorry.
tournament.
It
That's
was
a
$1
lot
million
of money for
for
2011.
first place. It was $1 million for first place. So it was 1,000,000, 250,000, 150,000, 80, 35, 35, 25, 25. That was how it broke down. So first place team took home $200,000 a person. You know, just get rid of their cut. So then TI2 was Invictus Gaming from China. Second place, Na'Vi. I remember that one. That was the first TI that I watched. That one was crazy. Third one, you had Alliance taking home 1.4 million, followed up by Na'Vi again, 632. Then 2014. This is the first time where you had a single country. This was last year. Single nation winning, or single region, excuse me, winning both first and second. You had Newbie taking home $5 million last year in first place. And then Vici Gaming taking home $1.4 million for second place. And then Evil Geniuses, which is the same roster, as I was reminded, taking home third. And Na'Vi took home 7th. And Alliance took home 12th. So, also, for comparison, last year, first place took home $5 million. Last place, Team Empire and Team Fnatic took... Actually, that wasn't even last. That was just 13th and 14th. 15th and 16th didn't take home anything. 13th and 14th took home $21,000 for the entire team. That's it.
I'm looking at this on the wiki right now. That's ridiculous.
Yeah, money's... And then you've got this year where there's a lot of money still. What are you spamming me with? Chat, please. Oh, yeah, the international download stuff. Yeah, well, we kind of can't watch those in chat, or in the show.
Just spamming chat with videos. Good play.
So, but now the money is just ridiculous because, again, that's all that money is going to, last year, $21,000 for a last place team sounds really good, but when you compare that to the, millions, especially because Valve doesn't cover everything. There's a lot... It's expensive to get here.
What is the... Okay, so, you're gonna call me out on my Dota knowledge that I'm being called out by the chat on, the Dota and all this stuff. So, what are the things I want to know?
And I may or may not know the answer to this. I will own that.
Okay, so do you know how people get to the international? Do you know the league system basically? Because I know
there is no league system.
I know. There's
there
LCS
wasn't
or SPL.
So
I know there is Beyond the Summit. I know them, but I don't know what that is. Is it just hey, we do a tournament every so often, or is that a league?
A little bit of both. So.
Okay.
Beyond the Summit is a organization they're very, very unique, so I can't even think of an organization that's like them. Okay. So, but the short version is that...
I know you saw that. You're just standing there, you read that, you blinked, and you're just okay.
Yeah. Sorry. But so this, beyond the summit is this organization, and they do a little bit of everything. They got contracted out to do some of the qualifying coverage stuff, and they run their own. Yeah, they compete to cast tournaments, and that's exactly what it is. Though, is you've got tournaments that are run, and then they're also Summit does their own sort of mini leagues. And what ends up happening is that Valve keeps an eye on this. They pay people to watch all of this coverage for the big name teams. They do the same thing in Counter-Strike, although Counter-Strike's a little more streamlined because you've got these majors that go from time to time to time, and there's some qualifying stuff that goes on there. So what happens is evil geniuses, because of how they placed last year, because they're the same roster, and because of how they've been placing, for correcting, as I'm correcting myself from previous statements earlier in the show, because of that, they get invited.
Okay.
And that's how those 10 teams were invited. The way that they've done that in the past in terms of inviting teams is they make an announcement that they're going to make an announcement, or they let organizations know, like news outlets, hey, we're going to be announcing so you guys can get ready, or here this is, you can make your announcement at this time, not before then, otherwise we're going to fine your ass, because you can do that.
Right.
Or we'll take your press passes away, things like that. But instead, this year, they just literally, like I said, they were tweeting out on a random account. It was literally, they tweeted it, and whichever team got the first one retweeted it saying, we are honored to accept. And somebody was like, hold up, what is this shit? And that's when the freakout happened that I talked about at the beginning of the Dota segment. With trying to cover it.
I know this isn't what happened, but the way you just painted that to me made it sound like, I know they were tweeting, like, you were invited or whatever, but you make it sound like accept an invitation and like anyone would just grab it, be like, I want to come, my team wants to come.
Yeah, no, but it was the we are proud to invite Vici Gaming to whatever, and Vici Gaming is already accepted, behind the scenes. This is whatever, or Fnatic or whomever.
I got you.
And then what happens is, sorry, I saw the second screen. You jumping up at the reaching for your invitation again. It was very entertaining, but And so then it was they're tweeting about it because you're making a formal deal and making a big deal about, hey, we're the first team invited to not Worlds, but International. Big deal. And that was when it sort of kind of snowballed out of control. But that's what it is you've got Dream League, you've got Star Ladder, you've got Beyond the Summit's got one. There's a couple other ones that run as well. I mean, hell, freaking Cloud9 went to Asia for 6 months. They competed in the Chinese circuit. They just airdropped. I mean, they didn't actually airdrop him, but that's what I like to joke about. They just airdropped Big Daddy, Eternal Envy, and Fada in the middle of China, in Beijing, and said, "Go play."
That's really cool, actually, because there's a lot of discussion about that. In
ESL, yeah, that's one I forgot. But they only did they did it for like one mini tournament season. They played in like 2 or 3 series, and then they left. And all right, it's like boot camping. They talk about in League of Legends boot camping in Korea. So, that's sort of what went down.
That's pretty crazy. They talk a lot about, or there's like a lot of hubbub about like every time in LCS, like Western teams will go boot camp in like Korea usually, sometimes China. Before like a big tournament, before like, hey, this is our promotion match into LCS, or hey, this is playoffs, or hey, we're gonna get ready for Worlds or something like that. So the most recent expansion upon that was when Monte Cristo, the owner of Renegades, was talking about how he was tired of other Western team owners saying that they were aiming towards Worlds when like they're playing in like EU and NA LCS, which are not very competitive regions in comparison to China and Korea. And if that they really wanted to compete on that level, they would actually uproot their teams and have them like come play in the leagues for an extended amount of time in Korea or China. And like that's kind of what Cloud9 did in Dota, am I right? Is that what happened?
It was more they came over, bodied China, and then left. But yeah.
Okay, yeah. So how long were they there?
It was 3 months, I think.
I mean, that's longer than most teams have ever boot camped in League. Like most teams boot camp for like 2 weeks, maybe a month or some shit.
Yeah, but no, because again, it wasn't really boot camping. It was coming in, taking money, and leaving because the NA scene was at a break. Really quickly, I want to jump over the last 10 minutes or so of the show, and let's talk about BlizzCon really quickly. So I'm sorry. I'm apologizing in advance. I know there's some people this is a sore subject on. I'm apologizing. Get my hands up in the air. Don't hurt me, please. You know who you are. So what's going on is Blizzard. Blizzard takes that Valve approach where they don't do shit for 90% of the year. And then they're like, oh, by the way, you've actually been earning points
This whole time.
Yes, and it's like, I mean, everybody knows if you're really entrenched in it, you understand. I mean, and there is for StarCraft specifically, there is a league run by Blizzard, sort of. It's contracted, but WCS is run. I'm sorry, C9 is EU, not NA. Well, they've got NA guys on the roster, but they're based in EU, and they play everywhere, so I have a hard time saying where they're actually from. And Cloud9 itself is technically a North American organization. So anyways, moving on to Blizzard, BlizzCon. WCS for StarCraft 2 still going strong. I have a hard time following it because I've never been a huge StarCraft guy, but I mean, I'm sorry, I never got into it. My parents didn't love me as a child. They didn't buy me Brood War when I was 8 years old, and ship me off to Korea. But anyways, so WCS has been going on. They're into their last split for StarCraft. I don't know if there we go. Okay, he's moving. I thought my Skype had frozen, but
no,
apparently you just zoned out.
No, I was listening to you, actually. Thank you, ass.
So, anyways, so that's WCS. They're prepping. They're going into it. They're going into BlizzCon. Maybe we'll just do a Blizzard episode someday, because I don't know anything about.
We gotta have Marl on for episode 3 so he can talk to us about Dota for an hour.
We could do that. But anyways, so we've got StarCraft that's doing their thing. And it's still in a decent place. I always like watching at BlizzCon. I'll watch any event at BlizzCon except for Warcraft arenas, because those are the lame as shit. But I'll watch everything else. You've got Hearthstone, where there's everybody going, oh shit, like, I'm out of months where I can grind on the ladder for points. I need to go enter as many open competitions as possible to earn extra WCS points, because it's based purely on points from all of these other leagues. And the thing that sucks is that if you're trying to make a Hearthstone league, you want to do invite only, because that's how you run a league. You have X number of players or teams, and you move forward. That's how a league works. But Blizzard will only award points to tournaments that are 50% open bracket or more, meaning that half of it has to be open to anybody who signs up.
Okay.
So that's the problem with Hearthstone is that it's really actually kind of difficult to jockey for points.
It seems like with Hearthstone, and I really don't keep up much with it. I'm not bashing the scene at all. I'm not bashing the scene at all. I've just never much cared for it. It just seems like if you actually are good with Hearthstone, that like every tournament you're gonna have to wade through this pool of shit. Like,
that's really what it is, though.
You just have to. It's just like you, and then like 10 other Yugimotos, and then like 40 fucking like Joey Wheelers. Just sitting there, like,
pretty much.
Like, hey, let's go. I don't even know, man. I'm sorry.
Nah,
it's a terrible analogy.
But yeah, so that's where Hearthstone's at, and then you've got Heroes of the Storm, where they're doing these opens once a month, where they let everybody in. 148 teams, and their seeding sucks. You've got top 8 teams playing each other in a round of 32. What are you doing?
I want to bring everyone's attention to this post by Blizzard for just the very briefest Heroes of the Storm moment. I posted it just in chat right now. Scroll down and you'll see how the teams across the world are invited to the BlizzCon Open. Look at America. Look at America.
Bullshit.
Isn't that troll as fuck?
Like, America, where literally half the organizations are rostered for some reason. Like, it's like everybody's in America.
Europe is 5% bigger.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Europe is, and this is just a real brief interjection before you continue on your tirade. But like honestly,
I'll zen here.
And like honestly, across competitive gaming, and I've seen this in Guild Wars 2, I've seen this in Smite, and I've seen this in this game. When they post the statistics of like who's playing and shit like that, Europe is always the bigger region than North America, but it's only by about like 5 to like 8% or something like that. It's like, so like if I'm gonna skew some numbers here, but they're like a little bit around the ballpark. I remember North America was like 350,000 players or something like that for Heroes. Europe is like 463,000 or something, something like that.
Yeah.
So like it's close, but they got a little bit more.
But the thing is that when you look at this again, like the numbers are North America. So 2 teams coming from NA, Latin America, Southeast Asia, and Australia and New Zealand. Like, excuse me?
I know, it's so troll. I
Like,
love it.
it is troll because you've got these organizations that are pumping money into like heroes, like straight up the teams that they invited last year might not even be able to make it. E.g., two Cloud9 teams, Tempo
EG's
Storm.
gone, by the way.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, but I
There's
know what
time
you
for them
mean.
to pick
Like
another team.
basically, Tempo has NA on lock. Tempo is going to potentially get one of these slots. I am very curious to see how how I want to see the top from like the top two NA, just as an example.
Yeah.
Top two NA, top two Latin, top two Southeast, top two Oceania, whatever. I
Yeah.
want to see all those nerds fight each other for those last two spots. I want to see how that turns out.
That will
But
be
my prediction is
solid.
like Tempo's just been on top. Tempo was like old Cloud9 and Smite. They're like Fnatic now. Nobody can stop those nerds. Like they've lost like one game in the past like 2 months in a tournament or something like that.
No, it's
Like
crazy.
no one can stop those nerds. So,
But it's crazy, and I feel like it's a little bit clumped to have 4 regions and have it be such a stretch. Like I would get, throwing I mean I get it, like it's Korea. You're only inviting one team from Korea, but it's Korea.
I feel it's troll that Europe gets 2 slots and North America gets lumped in with all those other 4 bastards.
Well, that's what it is. Why don't you throw, North America and Latin America? Okay, fine. They get, 2 slots between the 2 of them, and then you stick like Australia and New Zealand in with Taiwan, or no, stick Southeast Asia in with Taiwan, Hong Kong, and Macau because, hello, they're all right next to each other. Like they're not the same region.
I'm sorry, I'm
close.
spacing out. I was looking at the bracket and like visualizing what you're talking about.
Yeah,
so like, you should put Southeast Asia under China, or Taiwan. No, put it under China.
Taiwan, not
and then put. Do you think so? Yeah, put it under Taiwan.
China's got to be its own thing to appease the Chinese market. That's like
you're right.
That is just like, I mean, that's the thing is that you've got NA, EU, and China that all want to be their own thing, but you can't invite 2 teams off the rest of it because that's not how it works. You can't have Taiwan and China being the same thing because then that's China saying, yeah, that's right, see, you're ours, and Taiwan's like, fuck you, we're our own country, go away.
I mean, this is their first world championship. Knock on wood. Not 100% sure. I'm pretty goddamn sure though.
Yeah, because Heroes last time was an invitational. They invited 4 or 8 teams. We're like, yeah, look at us. It's a show match. And then they dumped like, by the way, show match for $100,000. Fight. And they're like, ooh, let's go.
Yeah, basically. So like, this is one of the first big like. I mean, they had international events before, like Team Liquid and Cloud9. Tempo Storm have fought each other before, but like this is gonna be the first international event where like it's not just NA and EU, and it's super troll to me that even though this is the first one, that you only got 8 teams. Like, did Smite do like 6 teams or something?
Smite's very first
thing
remember. Was like 6 at a PAX, yeah. And like, okay, whatever, and it was tiny as hell, but that's also because it was high-res tiny as hell. Like, I mean,
I'm not talking about PAX. I'm talking about the launch tournament. I'll count the
launch tournament. Launch tournament was 8.
Okay.
4 from NA, 4 from EU. Smite Worlds was 2 from NA, 2 from EU, 1 from Latin America South/North, 1 from Brazil, and 2 from China, and that's it. I don't know how they're gonna.
I don't like having just 8 teams at a world event, and it's expensive. World events are expensive as fuck.
Oh, and SWC Season 2, there's got to be 16, just because you're bringing in Australia or you're bringing in OCE. You've got China, you've got Latin America and Brazil sending 2. You've got OCE sending 1 or 2 as well. I don't remember. Like, I don't remember how the hell they're gonna fit it, but that's going back to Smite, which we talked about at the beginning. And I'm not saying that there are these major numbers. China's got several billion people that live there, and they've got several 100 million gamers. So there's no reason to lump them in with somebody else. But at the same time, when you're trying to say, okay, we've got 16 teams, you've got to go with who are your most competitive groups to send 2 from in each of those, and then you've got to find a way to lump the wild cards together pretty much. And I hate saying that these smaller regions have to inherently be the wild cards, but I feel like you've got to go for a little bit of that LCS or the League of Legends, whatever they call their world championships, where you've got Turkey, Brazil, Australia.
They're lesser regions. The player bases are smaller. The infrastructure there is lesser. I mean,
yeah, and that's just the way that it is, And there are good teams there. You see the same thing in Counter-Strike. So,
yeah.
And so it's complicated, and that's why we're just here to talk about it. We're not the ones making. I'm not making that decision. gotta pay me way too much money to make that decision.
I'll do it for $240.
All right, what's $240? I'm trying to think what's specifically that much.
I don't know. I was just like, well, I don't want to do it for 60, and I don't want to do it for just 100. So I kind of just rolled it up, honestly. Oh man.
Yeah, no. So it's interesting. It's gonna be interesting to see where things go. As far as how BlizzCon is handled. BlizzCon, they're gonna be. When is that? That's soon.
BlizzCon is in November, if I remember right.
Yeah, see,
So
I
it's
remember
like
tickets sold out like immediately.
I wanted to go to that too. So like, if I remember right, BlizzCon's like in November, and then oh shit, when is Worlds, dude? Worlds is in like what, October? Hang on, I'm looking at. I'm talking about League of Legends Worlds, by the way.
Yeah.
LOL Worlds. It's in
November
Europe this
6th
year.
and November 7th is BlizzCon.
Yep, and then 2015 Worlds, the quarterfinals. Excuse me. They don't say when it's gonna be. That's so troll.
I could have sworn tickets had already been purchased. Here we go. Hang on.
Oh, okay, so it's in October. Yep.
Yeah.
Worlds is in October for League of Legends.
It's the entire month of October. Yeah.
Yep. And then they did this last year, and then you have BlizzCon in November.
Literally the week after.
What's
So
in
it's gonna
December?
suck to be some of those like
Journalists.
the journalists or the team representatives who have to be at both.
Oh, they live for that shit, dude.
Oh, I know they live for that
like
shit too,
they
but I know
pop
some
pills and then they like get drunk and party in a hotel. They're like, my team just won $75,000. It's a pretty nice life.
Yeah, I mean, hey.
Pretty
I mean,
chill.
I would be lying if I said that wasn't sort of the general direction that I was going. Not necessarily for those specific things, but I mean, that's what I want to do. I want to be a journalist. That's why I'm here, talking to you guys about this shit. And then we got Hedge, who's, I mean, if you guys want, you can hit the donate button down below. He might strip for you, he might not, but we'll get the money to him eventually. But no, in all seriousness, yeah, BlizzCon, internet. So actually, we've got a busy couple months.
I mean, it's gonna be the winter. I don't understand what it is with like esports in winter, but like I reckon we're gonna have a shitload of DreamHack stuff because like DreamHack
Valencia's around the corner.
I know, but like I know about DreamHack Valencia. Sorry, I didn't mean to say it like that.
It's okay.
I know about DreamHack Valencia, but like I feel like if I remember correctly, like DreamHack Winter, right?
Yeah,
that's what I'm trying to get at.
Winter
so, like,
and summer are the two big ones.
Exactly, that's what I'm trying to get at. So you got Worlds in October, you got BlizzCon in November, and then you have DreamHack Winter throughout all of this, or like I don't know when the fuck it starts, and it's like all sorts of events. You got Counter-Strike, you got League, you got CS:GO, or I said Counter-Strike already. You got Heroes now, like it's everything.
Yeah.
And then after that and during that in January you got Smite World Championship. So that's like a solid 4 months potentially of like jam-packed esports.
Yeah, because we've got end of July, there's nothing going on right now, but there is, I mean, hype for the International. The International is going to be that first week of August. Then you're going to have fall split for LCS, if there is anything like that. Or does
There is?
Yeah, so you got... no, actually,
like
because LCS Summer Split Finals is the end of August. So...
Oh yeah, and then they have a month off to get ready for
prep for
Worlds,
Worlds,
basically.
yeah.
Oh shit, dude.
Then,
oh shit, and then there's like no League of Legends, dude, until like fucking like January 20th. Oh my fucking god.
You got League the entire month of October. That's all extra hype. Then you've got November.
God.
You've got the beginning of it is gonna be BlizzCon, and then right after that you're gonna have all the global stuff for Smite if you're interested in that kind of thing. Plus there's a shitload of MLG stuff going on for consoles. Plus we're getting ready to come back in for another series of Counter-Strike majors. Then you're into December. That is the dead month normally. Then you got January, and you're right back into the thick of things. Beginning of January, you got Smite World Championships. You got DreamHack Winter. And then you're back into the beginning of the season for LCS. Dota's going to be ramping back up a little bit there too.
Smite, SPL split should start in February, give or
I don't know what
take.
the hell's going on with SPL season 3. Like, I actually am wondered as far as
Viability or something else?
survivability of the game and of the esports scene. There's some serious questions that I've got.
You want to talk about that next time?
Yeah, we can talk about that next time.
That sounds good.
Sustainability or something. We'll find something for that. Because again, we are trying to. I like the idea of having each show be about something. even if it's just an overarching thing. And this happened to be the one where we're like, hey, there's a bunch of team drama going on in Smite and League, and also all of these announcements were made about World Championships. So let's talk about that.
Perfect. Easy.
So, that said,
yeah, I think that's it for today.
So, I see
can do
drama.
closing
Oh, I see lots of
remarks.
drama.
Oh wait, what? Where is it? Twitter? I
Yep,
like Twitter
Twitter.
drama. Oh,
Twitter drama.
Hang on.
Oh,
All
but
right. Oh wait, I have
it's
16
Smite EU
notifications.
banter Twitter
What just
drama.
happened? I have. Why do I have 16 notifications?
Sorry.
Whatever. I'll look into it later. Hang on. All right. So anyway, closing remarks. Any questions from the people? Thank you for tuning in, by the way, as we like slowly roll out.
Yeah, so once again, thank you everybody for tuning in. We do appreciate it. My name has been MTarget. You can follow me at MTargetProduct on Twitter. He has been Hegemony. Where can they find you?
You can find me on Twitter at Hegemony Reigns, and I'm pretty sure it's like below me or something.
Above you, right above your head.
Below.
Well, your name is
me.
below you. Your Twitter handle's above you.
Yes.
So,
I wanted that to be a gift, dude. I wanted that to be a gift.
we'll make it happen. But anyways, with this said, this is Let's Talk Esports. We do this once a week. I'll figure something out as far as what we're gonna do the beginning of August, because we might just have to take a week off. Say go watch the International, enjoy that, and we'll just do a 2-weeker, or maybe I can find a place with a laptop and a webcam, and we can do something with that. But with that said, thank you all for tuning in. We do appreciate it. This has been Let's Talk Esports. Hope you all have a wonderful evening, have a wonderful week. We'll see you all next time. Please hit that follow button to get notified about other stuff. We do talk about esports randomly throughout the week as well. But yeah, thank you all very much for tuning in.
Thanks for watching, guys. Appreciate it.
Oh god, that's loud.